Don't take a chance to misplace your implants. Ease your job. Make your pilot holes freehand, but accurately and securely with MD Guide. The intro kit contains 5 drills. The diameter of each drill matches the size of the missing tooth. For example, you will use a 7.5 mm drill for a lower premolar or a 10.5 mm drill for a molar. Place the guide against the adjacent tooth. Make the guide and the adjacent tooth parallel. The drill is automatically aligned and centered on the future crown. In order to place several implants, the MD Guide Intro Kit features 5 non-drilling guides. Those pieces will simulate the presence of the future crown when you place them in the pilot holes. Insert a non-drilling guide that has the same diameter as the drilling guide you've used to create your pilot hole and use it now as if it was a real tooth. Repeat the operation as many times as needed. Now, all you have to do is to use your current drill to enlarge the holes. With MD Guide, you don't have to change anything to your current process. You don't need any surgical guide, and you work more accurately and more securely.
If anything I do bothers her, she's just going to go ahead and raise her hand. So what I'm demonstrating is I have the beak of the physics forceps engaged on the lingual surface of the root. I have the bumper engaged on the facial surface deep into the vestibule. There's not a lot of room here. And I'm really holding this forceps with 2 fingers. And if you could just scan back a little bit, Kristen, that would be wonderful. And just to show my hands and how I'm really holding it with a thumb and 1 finger. And this is just a leverage finger. And what I'm doing is simply rotating my wrist. No arm pressure at all, no bicep pressure at all. I'm just rotating my wrist towards the facial. Rotating my wrist towards the facial. I'm not using this like a typical forceps, so there's no force here. Okay, you can get back close up there. And I'm rotating, and now it may take a minute. Now that's a long time for a dentist. I'm going to have you turn your head just a little bit towards Marina. There you go. And you can see the tooth, and I'm just rotating my wrist, rotating my wrist. Got to take your time here. Can you lift your chin up just a little bit for me? Just give me a little more room there. Not really putting a lot of pressure at all. Now I felt the tooth. You can see it's starting to move a little bit. It's coming. It's coming. Lift your chin up just a hair for me. Beautiful. And that tooth just elevated right out of the socket. Now granted, this is an anterior tooth, and you know, what's the big deal? It is a big deal. There's not.
As you can see, the prognosis for this tooth is really poor, and this explains why we are going to remove this crown in order to make the root canal treatment is in the best conditions. It took us something like 2 or 3 minutes to remove the crown without breaking the porcelain. We could have done also the windows on the window on the lingual side, but for the video it was of course easier on the buccal side. And as you can see, after the treatment we were able to reuse the crown immediately as a permanent. We didn't want to make a temporary or a new crown because of the poor prognosis.